Hi, Book 2. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for another review. So, this is obviously not Victorian literature, but I thought it was a good time to read this classic. Although actually I was kind of inspired by Emmy Reed's. I don't know if that's her actual channel, but this is one of her favorite classics, and I thought I would go ahead and it would be a good time to read it. She did a recommendation video where she suggested this would be a good time to read this book, so I thought, why not? And it's not that long, although there are some chapters that do drag, I gotta admit. But I loved, just for the record, I'm one of the few people who actually love the movie adaptation of the stage musical. And I've only seen the stage show once. And that was in DC, and it was me and my sister, we saw it together. I barely remember it, unfortunately. But I'm one of the people who actually loves the movie adaptation, the stage musical. And I also am one of the people who love Gerard Butler's performance, even though apparently he can't sing. And that people are like, oh, they should not have hired someone who couldn't sing. Like, he learned while filming. And I like his voice, but again, I am no expert, so you can't really trust my judgment on that. But I liked his voice. Another thing is, not only am I not an expert, but I have a preference for the scratchier voices, the more raspy voices, singing voices. I recently kind of developed a crush on Danny Elfman, Tim Burton's regular composer. He works with, the composer he works with in almost every movie except for two. And he is the singing voice of Jack Skellington. And I'm just a huge fan. I have not listened to his band, though. He used to have a band, Oingo Boingo. I haven't listened to that, but he did do a song from the band at the 2016 concert that is posted on YouTube. The song is called Dead Man's Party. So he performed it with, after they did the whole Night Before Christmas, singing the songs. So, and I just really liked his voice, and he definitely has that very raspy sounding voice, which is kind of also surprising because, I gotta admit, it's not what I expect from someone with his features, which I try not to, that might sound shallow, but I have developed a bit of a crush, partly because of his voice. And also, he just seems like a down-to-earth guy. Granted, there's only so much fans know about these people in Hollywood, so. Anyway, let's get back to Phantom. So, I was familiar with the story via that, but there are differences, of course. Like, there's at least one character that was never included. Actually, technically two characters. But one of them's a major character in the story, and then the other one is this, like, a minor character, that are not included in the stage show, in the musical. So, and there are differences, obviously, but not too, it's still the basic plot. This love story where, this famous opera house there's a guy with a disfigured face, who is considered a genius, and is not just good at music, but he also is an architect and apparently really good at fighting. And he lives in the opera house that he built, which you don't know then if you've seen the stage show. And his name is Eric, and he sets the sight on the beautiful chorus girl Christine Daae, who is, which, by the way, I'm not going to pronounce all the French names, like, I don't know the managers, and, I do think I have a translator on my phone, but I never used it, so, and I don't want to butcher the name, so I'm just going to call them the managers. But he sets a sight to teach her how to sing, and, she believes he is the angel of music sent to her by her father, a famous Swedish violinist who passed away, but before he did, he promised to send her the angel of music. And when her childhood sweetheart arrives, Raoul, and arrives, and he immediately falls in love with her all over again, but she's kind of caught between the two guys, the Phantom and the Role, and so there's a love triangle. And we have the two managers. They have a secondary plot line where the Phantom is also known as the opera ghost, and he, with Madame Giry's help, will send messages to whoever is the manager of the opera house to give him a salary and make sure he has access to box 5 so he can watch performances and do whatever he commands. And these new managers don't believe it and think it's a joke, but then as it keeps going and they keep receiving the letters, they think they are being conned out of their money and something's up. So they try to find answers and just become obsessed with trying to find out the deal with the opera ghost and if he's legit or not. So I have very mixed feelings. Just like with Dracula, I have mixed feelings about this classic. There are aspects of it that I like. The manager stuff is kind of funny because, like I said, they become very obsessed and they even accuse each other of stealing the other's money at one point, and they keep trying to figure it out. They fire and rehire Madame Giry, who does not play as big of a role as the musical leads you to believe. And actually, she replaces the main character, one of the major characters that is not in the stage show, the Persian. He has a history with Eric, the Phantom, and he's kind of Eric's moral compass. He tries to, protect him, but also make sure he doesn't do anything crazy, although he doesn't do a very good job, and he knows everything about him. And he's kind of the exposition guy. Like, he is the one who gives a lot of the information that you need to know about the Phantom, and he's not, like I said, he's not on the stage show, and they take his role and, like I said, put Madame Giry in his role, so it gives her a bigger role in the musical. But I liked his character, even though he was kind of, as another reviewer on Goodreads put it, a deus ex machina. He appears when you need him, conveniently when you need him, and he knows, and like I said, he knows things, so I kind of like him, And so he's the only one, other than there's a smaller minor character that also isn't, I don't know how to say her name, Jamise or something, Jamis. She's one of the divas of the opera house, but she's not in there, and they have, like, Carlotta still is in there, and then Meg Giry plays a bigger role in the musical than in this book. And I think if I remember the beginning, she was another person who was a little catty towards Christine, who gets the lead role when Carlotta gets sick. And, but she ends up being in the stage musical. Andrew Lloyd Webber had her become friends with Christine, so she plays, like her mother, Madame Giry. She plays a bigger role in the story. Not a huge one, but a little bit bigger. And actually, I think I read the description of the sequel musical, Love Never Dies. Actually, I think that was also a book too. And she plays an even bigger role, I think, in that sequel. Because I read the description of what the sequel was about, and it's kind of more of a love square in that one, I think, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I read that description. I don't know if I'll ever read the book or not, because like I said, when it comes to romance stories, I can be a little particular. But anyway, like I said, I like the managers. They were very entertaining, and like I said, they wanted to use Madame Giry because they know she's sort of connected to the Phantom, which they should have gone to the Persian instead. Because he's more connected to the Phantom. And, she ends up they are thwarted by her and the Phantom constantly every time they try to figure it out. It's like, in like one of them puts cash in his pocket with a safety pin or something, or in a bag of safety pin, and the Phantom's still able to steal the money somehow. But that's because he built this opera house, so he knows all the secrets, all the trapdoors and stuff. In fact, the Persian refers to him. I don't know the term in the Persian language, but he does say in his language they refer to him as the trapdoor man, or trapdoor ghost or something. Because he really likes them and knows how to make good trapdoors. And that's actually how he lures Christine. I also found it's interesting that, so, Gaston Leroux, I don't know if I'm saying that right, sorry if I'm not, he has written detective novels in the vein of like Edgar Allan Poe and Arthur Conan Doyle. So this kind of has a detective story feel to it. Like, it reminds me a little bit of how Stephen King wrote Carrie, where it's not written like Carrie. It's like Carrie's written like newspaper articles and interviews and stuff like that. But this is written like regular prose. And yeah, there are interview scenes, but it's written like prose. It's not written like this character said this, then this, and then the name of the person, then their dialogue. It's written like a regular novel, but it has the same feel of someone giving you the facts and telling you about what they heard about this great event. This tragedy that happens at the opera house. It feels like that's what's going on. This person is telling you what happened but stating it like these facts, and like someone telling you a story. And that's kind of how Carrie by Stephen King is, except for, like I said, it's not written in prose. It's a lot of there are some prose, but it's also a lot of reading newspaper articles and interviews and stuff like that. And then it goes between that kind of story, and then we get into the whole story of the Phantom and Christine and Raoul. And it can be, I feel like it can be detrimental to it, and it can be a hindrance, but it can also provide an interesting take, because you don't see that often. So it probably would depend on the reader. I think not everybody would love that. Some people would be thrown off by it, especially because it does, there's one scene in particular where Raoul and the Persian they're going to rescue Christine, and they're in a torture chamber, and we get a record of the Persian's narrative. He had told the police or whatever, or a detective, about what happened. And it's because the Persian knows what's going on. He understands Eric's tricks and his games and all that, and he knows how he works. So because where it's the Persian's narrative, it kind of limits things. I feel like it kind of makes things less scary. Like the scene had potential, but because, again, we were in the Persian's point of view, so he knew what was going on. He knew it wasn't real, while Raoul is going crazy and losing his mind and doesn't know what's real and what is and what isn't real. And I think it'd be more interesting and more scary if we were in Raoul's head instead of the Persian's head. So it took away some of the tension and the scariness of being in the torture chamber. Okay, so what else can I say? So the writing is good. It's, like I said, the only thing is, if you don't like a novel where it's like a combination of a detective story, then it goes into, a regular love story, then it might be hard to get into, unless you, if you like one over the other, for instance. But if you like both, then you might like it, like the writing style in this. So let's get to the parts I did not like. Okay, so first of all, Christine was a little bit more tolerable as a character compared to the other two main leads. Christine she's naive and a bit a little too trusting. But I like how she wasn't entirely obedient to Raoul. She was entirely, the good little woman, She was now I will agree with Raoul on one thing, that I think they should have left a lot sooner. She kept making excuses for not leaving, and one of the things is that she does have a good heart, and she's very sweet to the Phantom, and she's scared of him, but she also feels bad for him and is sympathetic towards him. And so she tries to, and she's also trying to protect Raoul because there's feelings there. Although I feel like the musical made their relationship more mutual. Well, I think even though she says she loves Raoul, I think she doesn't love him the same as much as he loves her, which we will get to Raoul in a minute. Raoul and Eric in a minute. But so she's like, I feel like she wanted to give him one last gift of her voice, and she just is like, and so she's like, we're not leaving until tomorrow. And guess what? The Phantom figures out what's going on. They're trying to leave him, so he kidnaps her and doesn't let her get away. And it's like, but if you had listened to Raoul in the first place, maybe you wouldn't be in this position. But I think she means well. And then she does try to, trying to make up for actually that's, I don't know what else to say about her. I also have a strong hatred for her, but I don't love her character either. Like I said, and there were times when I feel like she was a little cold towards Raoul, which is why I think she doesn't, which is part of why I think she doesn't love him the same amount he loves her. So now let's get to the guys, the two main male leads. Oh my god, those two. First of all, I know a lot of people did not like Raoul in the movie adaptation and the stage show. Like, I was just asking my friend Larissa, and she said that I thought he was a bit of a control freak. I was fine with him in the musical, the stage show. I was cool with his, he seemed brave and he really cared about Christine. But oh my god, if you don't like him in the musical, you're gonna hate him in this book. He is a pain in the ass. And he's not the only one. Both of them are a pain in the ass. And both of them, I want Christine to be like, au revoir, bye-bye, c'est la vie, I'm done with you too. But she doesn't. I don't, and, I think she just basically settled in the end. But you got Eric, who doesn't know right from wrong, doesn't realize what he's doing is morally wrong, and he's a mad genius. And first of all, you got them telling you he's a genius, and I guess you kind of see that he knows the architecture of the place. He knows it really well. The fact that he can maneuver all these trapdoors and stuff. But still, it feels like not enough for they're just telling you. Oh, well, although I guess you see him composing his Don Juan triumphant. But he is such a, you kind of get why he is the way he is. You understand it. You understand his lack of empathy for humanity, his, neediness for Christine, and him being a whiny bitch, and just him not understanding why she doesn't love him back, and being all on the defensive because the world dealt him a blow and was horrible to him because of his face, and it's not his fault. So he has an excuse, kind of, why he is the way he is. I mean, why he is the way he is. You know, him being it's understandable that he just doesn't understand and that he's a little batshit crazy. Which, by the way, Joseph Bouquet, if you have seen the musical, Joseph Bouquet dies right in the beginning, and that's when the previous managers explain to the new ones what's going on, and they think it's a joke. And the chandelier scene comes a little earlier, which I kind of knew, which I remember hearing that it comes earlier in the book. But like I said, his behavior is understandable. Like, not excusable, but understandable. While you have Raoul, who, he has no excuse. He is an ass. He's even more controlling. Like I said, I had a problem with him in the movie. I kind of liked him in the movie adaptation, in the stage show. Although I barely remember. I just had the soundtrack of the original cast recording, but I was okay with him. And I figured the reason why people prefer the Phantom is because, he's sexy and mysterious, and he's people, he's like, we feel sorry for him, and, and my friend Larissa's not the only one that prefers the Phantom. But at first I didn't really understand why people hate Raoul so much, but then reading the book, I can kind of understand if those people have also read the book. But he is such an ass. He's so possessive and acts like he already has a claim on Christine, and he gets so offended, when he flip-flops his emotions constantly with her, and he gets so jealous so easily. Like, he's like, when Christine tells him outright that, I'm afraid of him, but I feel sorry for him. And like, he's like, jumps down her throat. It's like, you love him. And he's constantly calling her a liar and a hoe, but then he thinks, oh, she's a victim, but oh no, she's a liar again. And he's constantly going back and forth. And I can't help but whenever a character is like crying, calling someone's name, crying out for something, unless it's like a mother calling out for a child, and it's a lover calling, repeating their lover's name and crying out for, I can't help but picture it being very melodramatic, that moment. So, and there's a couple scenes when he's like, Christine, and it's just, I keep thinking it comes off as, in my head, it comes off as very melodramatic. But it's just, oh my god, I wanted to strangle him. And like I said, I wanted her to ditch both of them. I wanted her to be like, fine, I'm not dealing with you two anymore. And I don't care if I don't ever sing in the rest of my life, I'm not dealing with you two. And he is so controlling, and like I said, he's worse in the book. So if you don't like him in the musical, then you're gonna hate him in this book. I just can't stand him. I mean, like I said, I was cool with him in the stage show, in the musical, but oh my god, in this book, he's so constantly insulting Christine and making her cry, her feelings, and I'm like, if this is the woman you love, why are you doing this to her? Why are you constantly berating her and punishing her and just being such an ass to her? I mean, she admits that she's afraid of the Phantom, and it's not good enough for him. And it's just like, she has to basically deny, pretend like, oh, I didn't mean it. I know the Phantom's not real when he shows up to talk to her and her sort of her guardian, who was friends with her father, as so Roland knows her and knows her guardian. And of course, the guardian, for some reason, she also believes that the Phantom is the angel of music. And Christine, she figures out right away that he's not really the angel sent by her father. Because, like, there's the whole scene where the Phantom takes her to his lair, his underground lair, and she gets a little too curious and decides to remove his mask so she can see his face. And the whole time I was reading this, I kept hearing the musical in my head, hearing the songs, and the movie version, because like I said, I actually like that one. I know everybody hates it, or most people hate it, and they think they say Gerard Butler can't sing. But I love it. So that's what I'm hearing in my head every time, and but I just could not stand him. Which, by the way, just for the record, there's two people who like you should check out also that do a good discussion on this and the adaptations of this book, and that is Lindsay Ellis and I can't remember his name, but I know his I don't know if it's called the channel name, but it's Lost in Adaptation, and he looks at all the different adaptations compared to the books and stuff. So it's really interesting. Like I said, Lindsay also provides interesting stuff too. You know, I don't always agree with her, but her videos are very well thought out, and you know, it's not just this is bad, I hate this. You know, it's a well thought out discussion and pointing out the reasons, and she gets the statistics and everything like that, and you know, so I'm, you know, even though I don't agree with her, I still like her. I think her videos are very interesting, very thought provoking. His are good too. But I wish I remember the actual channel name. But like I said, the videos are called Lost in Adaptations. But yeah, so I do not like him. I hate Roll. I do not like I'm okay with the Phantom. I accept the Phantom, but Roll can go. Like I said, I love Roll in the. I don't love him, but I liked him better in the. You know, again, I repeat, I liked him in the musical better. So, yeah. So, this I definitely think it's worth checking out if you're a fan of the musical. I think it's definitely worth. Oh, by the way, the Phantom's a lot uglier in the book. Described as a lot uglier in the book than he is in the musical, because of course there was, you know, theater is a little different medium, and you know, I can see in Lost in Adaptation pointed out the fact that Gerard Butler's makeup is like you can't even tell he's scarred until we move the mask. And like I agree, that was, you know, thinking about it now, it's like they could have done better, but with his, I don't know, maybe Gerard Butler didn't want, or you know, I don't know, but anyway, so and it's not that long, you know, it's I think 26 chapters, but there are chapters that drag, like when Roll and the Persian are going down to the Phantom's lair to rescue Christine. Like I said, that's where we get the Persian's narrative about like the torture chamber and him revealing the Phantom's history, Eric's history. That kind of drags too. And then you know, if you don't like the manager's plot line, then that can come off as draggy too, because what LaRue does is a lot of times he will introduce a plot point, then leave that plot point, and then come back to it later. And that can be a little jarring, I think. But so that's a little harsh. You know, that's a little writing wise. I'm not a big fan of that. Although I think it can be done in a charming way. But if you're not into that part of the plot, then like I said, it's kind of it can be kind of hard. And there were some moments, even though I liked the managers and their little storyline, there were still some times where I was kind of like, okay, what's going on? What, you know? And it didn't help that I was kind of tired when I was reading it. So anyway, so that is my thoughts on the Phantom of the Opera. It's like I said, it's not that long, so if you're interested and you love the musical, check it out. I mean, you don't have to, obviously, but you know. Because you know, sometimes the musical medium is more digestible than this, especially with the writing style and everything. But yeah, and you know, I actually almost got a chance to go to the Opera House, because this is a real place, the Opera House. I almost got a chance to go because my sister studied abroad. She took French and studied abroad in college for a semester in Aix-en-Provence, and we almost got to go to the Opera House, but we first went to visit my sister, and we stayed with her, and we visited her for a couple days, and by the time we got back, everything had closed, and we had to leave the next day, so I never got to go to the Opera House. I would love to go, though, and take a tour and explore the underground, because there is actually an underground lake and everything, because I think it'd be I think it'll be really cool. As someone who did theater, who was part of the theater in high school and middle school, I think it'd be really cool to explore the theater, or the opera house. So anyway, that is Phantom of the Opera. Okay, so before I go, I want to do a quick little book haul. So I went to the roast offs yesterday just to get out of the house and go do something. And because I had, I had a little bit more cash in my wallet, so I decided to use some of it. And I managed to get 4 books because they were only around $12. So I was able to I ended up getting all 4, but I'm probably not going to get this many books again in the next few weeks. So, first, let's start with, the roast office does a theme every month, and a theme for a sale. So this October sale was buy one mystery get one free. But although I didn't actually do the sale, I got a mystery book that I've heard a lot about on BookTube, and that is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So, like I said, I heard a lot about it on BookTube, and this is probably the cheapest I could find it. It's one of those books where I was not sure if I was interested or not, but since it was $3, I would only be spending $3, so I decided to get it. So this is about this woman, Evelyn Hardcastle has been murdered, and this guy, I think it's a guy, ends up waking up in different bodies, and he has to solve the mystery of her death, her murder. I do know there is one aspect of the law that people don't. One of the criticisms that they feel like it kind of has a little bit of fat phobia, because one of the bodies he gets into is an overweight man, and he's really disgusted by it. So, I haven't read it, that's just what I've heard. And that's, I think, the only criticism that this book, no, I don't know, although I might have heard it's hard to follow along sometimes too. But I figured, it's October, mystery, and I don't have to, I might not read it this month, but I might wait until November to read it, but I'm already thinking about reading it. But it is October, and I'm also trying to do, read more other books too, not just Victorian literature. So, I got that one. And then, I got a historical war novel, Sisters. And this is set during, is this the, I don't know what war it is, what's going on. Like, the mom of this girl was a suffragette, and it's in the 19th century, and, she has, but, because she can't deal with the mom, she finds a good relationship. She has a really great relationship with her sister Elizabeth. But when they're teenagers, they are separated. And then there is a romance because some mysterious traveling salesman shows up. So, yeah, I did read the back. I always read the back, but I don't remember it off I don't have it memorized. So, and, I have a soft spot for stories about sisters, So, but I would check it out at some point. So, I don't know if there's actually a war involved or not, but okay, so next is, Okay, so you guys know I'm a Charles Dickens fan, and one of my first Dickens novels was A Christmas Carol. And I watch A Christmas Carol adaptations every year, almost all of them. I actually got one for my birthday, one of my favorite ones, the Christmas Carol musical starring Kelsey Grammer, Jane Krasowski, and we have also Jesse L. Martin. That's his name. I always forget his name. Jesse L. Martin. What is his name from Seinfeld? Jason Alexander. He's also in it too. But anyway, so I spotted this one, Mr. Timothy, and it is about Tiny Tim as an adult. So if you know this, you know what happens to Tiny Tim in A Christmas Carol. So, Jackie, I'll be right there. We have him as an adult, and this is his story about, and how he's kind of trying to get away from his, from the pious little boy he was and become his own person. Or at least that's what it sounds like. With Uncle Ebenezer's money. So yeah, that sounded so I had to get this one, and maybe I'll read it this December. And then the last book I got was actually one that I've been kind of drawn to. I've been trying to definitely read a lot more, medieval literature, but I'm wary. I don't know if I would I have a book about the Borgia family as well, which I probably showed you guys. This one takes place in 1327. There's an abbey. Where they're suspected of heresy. And this guy arrives. Brother William Baskerville arrives to investigate. And there's his investigation is overshadowed by some deaths, and he has to become a detective. So I heard a lot about this, and I kept seeing it, and I don't know if it was Book Olive or Jennifer Brooks who talked about this book. So I figured, again, another situation where it was, I don't think I would get it cheap anywhere else, because all these books were $3, because it's paperbacks are $3 there, so unless they're mass market. So I thought I would get this one as well. So that is my little book haul, and also my review of Phantom of the Opera. If you guys like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up, click subscribe if you haven't already, click the bell notification below if you want to be notified on my latest videos I posted. I hope you're enjoying your reading and staying safe, and I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!